Welcome, guys, and welcome everyone that is online. Let's just join our hands as we welcome the people that are joining us. I want us to talk about mostly the power of words. Okay, the power of words, because we are going to transform people, and the only way we transform the world, the only vehicle we use is the words. Otherwise, people cannot look at you as a coach and like, wow, I was just transformed by looking at you. That will be inspiration. People will be inspired when they look at you and you're putting on well, and they're like, my goodness, if this is what it means to be people helpers. Do you know that counselors, long time, they used to be very boring? And even coaches. And so you would look at them and you'd be like, but no, this kind of life is not what I really want. But these days, people are hippie. People are, you know, just minding their business and transforming lives, and it's sounding good. So people look at you and they are inspired, all right? But in order for you to transform their lives, you must be able to use words, and not just words, because the Bible says the power of death and life is under your tongue. That means the tongue is the most powerful asset that you will ever have as a transformer, as a world changer, as one that is going to deal with those teenagers, as a business person. Because people will not these days, people are in arcades, but they're on social media. Why are people in arcades on social media? Because they know there is small clientele around the arcade. People no longer come to town to go and loiter in arcades to look for things. No, they don't look at that. What they are looking for is they go to TikTok, they keep scrolling and saving everything that they want. They're like, one day I will go to this phone shop. One day I will go to this event. One day people no longer randomly do things. Everything we do it on form. We are saving things, and then when we come from Bale, we have gone to town, we know exactly where we are going. We know we are going to Chinatown. And guess what? We even know the section where we are going and how much the thing is. Why? Because there is a certain blogger who failed to take the liberty to go and take the pictures and announce the prices, and now every information is coming at us in our hands. Back then, people used to come to town and they would look like sheep that was lost. These days, people know everything about town. And why is that happening? The power of the tongue. Now, so many of us have learned to use our tongue, okay, in our spheres of influences with our loved ones, and even a little bit with influencing people, or some of us even a lot more with influencing people. But I wanted us to be reminded of this, that God is the author, that when he created the world was created with words. That words are so powerful, more powerful than anything else, okay? The Bible says that a tongue is like a rudder, a small, like it can get you lost, right? And then it says that it can make a whole forest get down with fire. That is how serious. And then it warns a man of a quarrelsome woman. What do you quarrel with? When you find a quarrelsome woman, they have learned how lethal the tongue is. Have you ever exchanged words with your enemy? Your tongue becomes an expert at piercing and stabbing, because then in your mind, you're like, I must hurt them where it hurts most. That's why when you're in an argument, you cannot control yourself. Otherwise, if you had self-control, you'll be like, you know what? Let me walk away from this argument, come back to it when I'm calm, and I can be able to collectively and calmly select the words that I actually say. So now, as people helpers, we're not just going to deal with the tongue with just the people that we help. We must be able to help them. But remember, you are dealing, guys, you are going to have even enemies within the people helping fraternity. You're going to have enemies within your families that are pulling you down. You're going to have people that attack you on social media. Right? Now, the tongue, do you know that when you're typing words with vile and you're typing words with anger, your tongue is moving in your mouth? No, I don't know if some of you have, yeah? Like you feel like if you were here, I would have eaten you alive, I would have dead, as in I would have done the worst. But the only thing I have now is my keyboard. Let me show you fire. And by the way, that even accelerates it. Because have you ever heard of the saying that what is it? When someone is either the compensation theory. Either they can't speak, they, a lot, or when they are short, they try to compensate by shouting and, be the compensation. Now, if you are compensating for not being available or in the same room with the person that you're quarreling with or you are bitter with, you take it to that board and you do the worst. Because then you're like, what words can I use? Do you know that you can even delete a sentence? And you're like, no, this has not delivered justice. Let me rewrite it again. And then and then you are sending it in that moment. The person has kept it. And the person is thinking, this is not the person that I thought she was. Okay? And they can reproduce it at a time where you least expect it. And they're like, you said you will kill me. This morning we were talking with my husband, and I was telling him about the concern that, when you come from that moment where you've affirmed yourself, he has told you I love you, and you tell him I love you, and then I thought about it. There are so many people out there who are only hearing vile words and not words of affirmation. And I was like, we should do a program one day that talks about people, spouses, that tell their partners that they will kill them. Because let me tell you, I have had my fair share in the therapy room about men that have told women, I will kill you. And women have pushed it under the rug. And 5 years later, or even 6 months later, indeed they were killed. For every person that you have had, for every case that you have had on news of a partner that was killed, okay? It started with words. But those words, because they stayed long enough, this person thought, you are a barking dog that has no teeth, you cannot bite. Why? Because they promised the number one, and they said it again, and every time they quarrel or they have there's a slight mistake, all they are promising is to kill you. Chiptegei. No, just imagine. She goes for World Olympics. It's very possible that the husband, even while maybe she's requesting for something, she's like, now I don't have shoes, or I don't have enough money to buy shoes, because they suffer to even put themselves together for Olympics. You think the government support them that much? Kiprotich said that they bought shoes after they had flown out of the country and they were not even fitting. And he had to take them off on the track while they have said go. And he ran bare feet. So now here is a woman who has an abusive husband at home, and this man is saying, hey, so you think when you come here and you have won a gold medal, so you think you're on top of the world like this? I will destroy your face one day. I will kill you one day so that we can see what the world will celebrate. And then the next thing is she is beaten right after winning the gold medal, and she is burnt, put on fire in front of her children. But you can't tell me that, oh, this was a very good man, like he was priestly and everything was good, and all of a sudden he turned into an animal. It doesn't happen like that. There's a build-up, and the build-up is usually words. The build-up is usually words. So now, how we use our tongue, that means we either bring healing or we kill. We destroy or kill. We save or perish. How you use your tongue, it can even kill someone's confidence. It can take away their self-esteem, their worth. It can take it away. Let's go. Let's read some of those that I've given to you. Let's go. Number 1.
Proverbs 12:14. A man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth.
Okay.
And the recompense of a man's hands will be rendered to him.
All right. Let's go to Proverbs 13:2.
Proverbs 13:2. From the fruit of his lips a man enjoys good things, but the unfaithful have a craving for violence.
The unfaithful have a craving for violence. Proverbs 18:20. Who opened? Yes, please.
Proverbs 18:20. A man's stomach shall be satisfied from the fruit of his mouth. From the produce of his lips he shall be filled.
Okay. Now, when it says that you will eat the good, okay, that means he goes back to where he said that death and life is under your tongue, but choose life that you may live and your descendants. So that means when you use your tongue correctly, you're not the only one that is going to eat the good, but even your descendants are going to eat the good. How many of us we have thrived on the masses that people have towards our parents? You get it? Like, you study, you go through school because your parent was the kind who chose her words wisely, even when she was told, but you are so poor, why don't you take your children? We are tired of seeing them. And she's like, Tulibanaku, Mutuyambe, you know, let her go through school. I will do everything in my power. Even when words have been thrown at her. In this generation, you tell a Gen Z or a millennial that, you know what, but you are too poor, but you think you're the only school? You think there is no online studies? I think we can, you know, we can always find a way, and off they go. And then they will shut door after door after door. Their mouth is shutting the doors. And then after that, they expect you as a child to excel. After they have closed all doors and now they are folding their arms. Now age has caught up with them and they expect you to take care of them while they shut every door. I like the part where Pretty actually did a video and said that, why do you think that our mothers or our judges or our parents call the in-laws as in Mwami and what, not call them by their name? As in, it's a sign of respect. I don't want to overstep my boundaries. I want to be able to stay within my sense of respect, that even when I hear a bad word, a good parent, when they hear a bad word about their in-law, they'll be like, no one should ever catch me saying anything. No one should ever catch me on the wrong side of this. You know, they will say, I will pray with you. I will hear you out, but go and do the good that you can. You know, do not give up. They will never be caught on the wrong side of this. Because the moment you're like, but I saw him when he was just coming. He is arrogance. That means you had kept a lot in your head, and now at an opportune moment it has escaped your mouth. And guess what? Because they are in a quarreling phase, when she goes back, she's like, "Ne mama wange yakula bidao." Where is that conversation going? Before you know it, the man has locked the door. Before you know it, your children are not allowed to go for holidays. Before you know it, as in everything, and then there is a whole trench that has been dug between generations. And now you're wondering, why we cut off from everyone? The mouth. The mouth. So the words we say have the power to encourage or to discourage as people help us. They have the power that even when you come to someone comes to a session to talk to you, because they are going to come, even if you're not a counselor and you're not specializing in being a coach and you're a public speaker, after your public speaking sessions, there will always be someone who comes, you know, can you give me 2 minutes? Yeah? So you're giving them 2 minutes, and then they are giving you their problem. And now, because they are giving you, but you know, my man, you know, this is what they did, and this is what they did, and all of a sudden, but that man is very unfair. But that man, you have not heard the other side of the story. But because you have said what this person's ears are itching to hear, now they are taking it as the gospel truth. So that means you have to be very careful, because your words are taken as the gospel truth. The people that listen to you, they don't have sieving capacities to know that, by the way, do you know how when you grow spiritually, there are some people I will look at, even preachers, I will look at and I will be like, that is not the principle. That is not in the Bible. Or you get it? And not to over criticize, but I'll be like, you know what? I also have a sense of judgment or sieving what is right and what is not right. So I'm not going to take everything on the pulpit as the gospel truth, because they're also human. We are all in a journey to translate what the Bible means and to be able to help other people. So how you translate it is not going to be the gospel truth for me, unless it aligns with my values, unless it aligns with how I understand God. But there are people that have worshipped preachers. And everything they say, I know of preachers that have said, you know, that is, if your wife is refusing you from giving in church, that is not your wife. You married a wrong wife. Yeah, you married a wrong wife. Now, this person, they've been having so many things happening, boiling, and now you have catalyzed everything. You've become a catalyst. And now, all of a sudden, they're like, Even the pastor told me, you know that pastor sees in the spirit, eh? And that pastor is prophetic. So he just looked at me once and he gauged all my problems and he said, I married a wrong man. Just imagine, from the pastor you go to girlfriends. You're like, do you know that this pastor said this? And the friends like, me, I took long to tell you, but from the time you got married, me, I had seen it. Sometimes the people that you're talking to are not even married. They've not even sustained a relationship for 1 week. But they saw it 10 years ago when you were getting married. And 10 years after, they are not yet married. But they saw the problem 10 years ago. I'm not saying that people can't see. You get it? But I would want to leave you to make a decision of your own. That is why as people help us, we are not supposed to advise. We are not supposed to make decisions for people. We are supposed to facilitate the process of them making the decision. That should anything go wrong, they will not point at you and say, she told me to leave my home. You get it? When anything goes wrong, they will be like, you know what? That is why I usually tell them that, you know what? Go back, make a decision. Whatever decision that you make, that is between you and your God. But after you have made that decision and you need help in that transition, then come back. Then we will talk about it. But even when you come back to me needing help and you're like, you know what? I left. When you talk about anything and I'm punching holes in it and I'm seeing that there is a lot of inconsistencies, I will tell you, you actually left prematurely. But it's not me telling you to go back because you're the only one in that situation. But I want you to pray. I want you to think. And I don't want you to be hasty. No one is rushing you. The world is not closing tomorrow. Take your time. Do you know when people advise, it feels like the world is it's better you live and it's better you live now. You know, if you take one more day, I'm like, eh? So our words, now look at this. That means our words have the capacity to not only build this generation, but build the coming generations. That is how powerful. When God trusts you to be a co-creator with him, when he trusts you to be a people helper, when he places the burden that all of you have in this place, we are not the only people on earth. But why is it that in this dispensation and in this era, we are the ones that have felt the burden? I know there are so many people globally that feel the burden and they are developing their skills. But why is it that in this room, it's only us developing this gift? He's trusting you with something big. And he's saying, I want it to be developed, because the moment you use it when it is underdeveloped, it's like taking a soldier and giving them a gun before they learn how to control the gun. That is how ill-equipped and unmentored people helpers do. Because then they're like, I will learn on my own. Where is the trigger? There? they are panicking. And do you know that even they don't just learn how to operate the machinery, they go through the mindset training, because they know that should anything happen, you should have the capacity to know when to shoot and when not to shoot, to how to shoot to kill or how to shoot to harm in order to grab this person. So you have to go through the mindset training that, by the way, a weapon is the last thing that you use if everything has failed. They have to go through that. They have to go through anger management. I know I've done anger management. They have to go through stress management. Some of them, what triggers them is the stress. They use the weapon badly. Some of them, they have to know that someone can come and manipulate you and say, you know what, there is a deal. You know, 500 millions, you will take 100 millions of it. All you need to do is give me your gun, or all you need to do is come, we go and attack. Just imagine if there was no such training, how many people that have guns around Kampala would be using them whichever way that they want. You get it? And then they hold them to higher standards. My goodness, I did not even prepare this. Let me tell you, God is holding you to a strict standard. To a strict standard. The guns those men have are registered. They have serial numbers. They do not just get guns and they're like, what, you have uniform, take. No, you have to be responsible for your weapon. That it must be accounted for. It must be brought back. And that is why the ballistics will tell that this is the gun that we used. You would say that all guns look alike. No, they have serial numbers. So God is holding you to the highest standard to be that is why I told you that your calling is not an option. It is not an option. Otherwise, God would have said, anytime you wish. No. He's holding you accountable for the power, for the wisdom that he has. Do you know that to be a people helper, God, it's like God saying, you are wiser, there is a standard that you're at, and I need you to be able to help others. That is God saluting you, by the way. That's God saying, as in, you are someone that I trust with this. Some of us are mocking God and insulting God by letting our emotions getting in the way. Letting everything that we have had out there, when you hear and you get annoyed, getting the past experiences of your own life jeopardize you. All right? Letting the experiences of others. Do you know there are people that have failed to get married because they've listened to so much taka-taka? Yeah? They've told them, oh, women, they are men, by the way. We did a program, and it is the most trending right now on Instagram and on TikTok and on all platforms. But most men, more than 3,000 men commented, and they were like, I am the man you said, you talked about. I am 45 and I am not about to marry. I am 40 and I just have children, but I don't need a wife. As in, they have had all sorts of things, you know. When other men sit and talk about women, they're talking about them as people that don't understand, people that, you know, are the ones that are bringing them down, people, you know, you will have your peace of mind for as long as you don't have a woman, you will, you know, you will not spend too much money, you know. So now, even the young ones, the 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, now are crossing over to the bracket of the 45-year-olds without their own experience. Why? Someone has said something so lazy and sluggish, and they have gotten it, and it is affecting another generation. That's why I keep saying that the good marriages are whispering, while the bad marriages are shouting on top of the mountain. And media has not helped it. When you see a good marriage, all you're thinking, oh, people say, that is scripted. Beraga. You know, that is, let me tell you, some people be genuinely happy. Yeah. And if they showed you even a quarter of what they do, it's jaw-dropping. Some of the couples that put anything on social media, they are giving you barely even 2% of what they do behind, because you can't have a camera on you all the time. But the cuddles, the kisses, the spooning, the affirmations, you know, you can't see all that. But they are good marriages. But words are doing what? Building up, pulling us down. So while the world is pulling everyone down, as people helpers, we should be building. That even when you go through a turmoil of your own in marriage, you should not blanket everything. And so when someone comes before you, you can say, yes, I have my own issues, but this person is living another kind of life. They have their own experiences. So let me be the support that they need to make the sober decisions, and not to poison them with my past or with my own issues. I have seen people do that. Okay? If God could give us, what is it called, a declaration, he will tell you, sign here. That you will not be the breaker. You know? You will not be the breaking point of people. That there is somewhere it actually says that let your speech be seasoned with grace. With grace. And then after that, you're like, but these things, you know, coaching, Spanish content creation, what? Please don't blanket us all in the same thing. Yeah? Be your own person, own up that I didn't do what I needed to do, that I wasn't as consistent. I didn't show up to the magnitude that I needed to show up. Own up and say that everything rises and falls on fear when it comes to me. Fear gripped me. I stayed where I am, and I refused to take a walk. And now I see people getting far, and I'm like, wow, anytime they will be falling. You know, this world is not an easy world. That means you're a witch doctor. You're busy praying for others to fall. Can you try to raise others? Lift them up. In prayer, in words, when they come to you, when I told you that whether you're speaking, you are coaching. Whether you are speaking, whether you're shooting content, you are coaching. Whether you're availing people with solutions, you are coaching them. So let your word be the one that lifts the spirits and not downcast their spirit. Words have energy. Okay? Words have energy. Have you ever listened to someone speak and you repel them immediately? Yeah. Because the energy will introduce you before you even speak. It goes before you. A person that has bad energy, they don't need to speak before you can know that they are going to tear down. They just walk into the room and the energy, let me tell you, do you know that when you think something, it's translated into your energy and you exude that? They become like sirens that you give out. Now, sometimes, do you know what we discern when we talk about discernment? We are discerning energy. We are not waiting for you to speak and it's like, okay, after she spoke, then I discerned. That is not discernment. Discernment is when someone looks at you and you can read in their eyes that this person actually, you can read that someone disrespects you. You can read that someone believes in you or adores you. You can look at someone and you actually feel that they want to help. That means that there is a way your heart skips if you're telling a lie. And then there is a way your heart skips if you tell the truth. Now, all that it translated, that is energy. So even when I look at you and I'm like, I can tell, by the way, and I will not discuss it with you, but I can tell. But I'll be like, these are God's people. God gave me one mandate. One mandate like this. He didn't tell me, go and separate who will do and who will not do. No. He said, as they come, plant the seeds. Now, it's not your job to germinate the seeds or sprout them. I will water them, I will germinate them, and it is in my own timing. So I know who will come first. Yeah, and I will know who will develop their skill after 5 years from now. And then they will be like, everything they were saying was actually true. And I was like, but where were you? That's why you can sit in the same class and you will perform differently. Perform differently. Even as people help us, we are training, and there is someone after some time, actually, she went on to do, I think it was another course, and then after that, she came to me and told me, so actually I'd given her a free offer. It was during the COVID when we had Hold My Hand, and she was shattered. She had no, like her business was thrown down completely, like nothing. She was like, I am on ground zero. I was like, Omani, let's rebuild again. And when I heard her story, I was like, start. She's like, but I don't have money. I was like, start, we will see where we're going. In the middle, I told her, don't bother. Let me plant this seed. See how much it will germinate. Okay? And then, after that, invested in another program, very expensive program. And then after that, she was like, but everything you gave me is actually more than what I am receiving. You get it? Now, let me tell you, buying the most expensive things does not mean implementation. It does not. It all comes down to you, an individual. How thirsty you are, how hungry you are to implement and take chance. Take the leap of faith and say, I will put myself out there. Take the leap of faith and say, I will create the content even when it is not as good, because then I can become good as I go. How will I know that I will become good if I don't start? Let me start. It all comes down, even this program, it all comes down to implementation. The information is not enough. You will buy all the information. Fill up your hard drives. You know? How many of us have filled up phones? They're even requesting for space. Yeah. They're requesting for space. But this is what you are doing. Every time you're taking pictures, you're screenshotting things that you have never bought. 5 years ago, you took screenshots. You still have them. Last year, this year. So it's not about, until I stopped. I was like, you know what? Whenever I want something, I will search for what I want, and then I will go buy it. Because I will fill my phone for no good reason. Because then I will take a snapshot, and I will never remember that I took the screenshot. And I will go on with other things. Implementation. But the implementation also comes down to the words that you speak with yourself. Do you edify yourself? Do you encourage yourself? Do you say, you know what, let me tarry in there? Do you, just like I said, we are like farmers. You put, oh, are you the kind that is planting a seed and then you go and scratch it? And you're like, let me see if it has developed roots. And then you're like, but you know, there is no one reading my posts. And then you plant again because Madame Pretty encouraged you. And all of a sudden, you after 1 week, you go and you're like, but the flower, the leaf is coming out. It is facing the other side. And so, and then the other day, you'll come back and it is yellow. The other day you come back and the roots have dried up. The thing is, he's saying a leap of faith. So when you speak to yourself and you're like, you know what, I am going to sow in the morning. I will sow in the afternoon. I will cast my bread on the waters. And after many days, it will come to me that the toil, how I started, is not where I am. But if I had given up, because we speak to our minds, we are the greatest at listening to ourselves, at speaking to ourselves. So when you say, you know what, this thing is not going to work, you are speaking to yourself. You're like, I don't think. I think other people are just lucky. I think maybe it's just, it's for those that are beautiful. So you become a judge now. You have judged yourself. Now, all of a sudden, even when you shoot a video, you're looking at yourself and you're saying, nah, this is not passing. I'm not going to do this. Who is the judge of beautiful and ugly? That means you have already placed yourself. Whenever you look at yourself, the only thing you see is the nose. The only thing you see is the forehead, the long one. The only thing is the hair is not good. And then you are postponing and postponing. Why? Because of the conversations that you're having in your mind. So those can kill you also, they can bury you, or they can make you sprout. Because the only way you plant good seeds is when you speak to yourself and you're like, you know what, it's possible I'm hungry in this season, but I'm sowing seeds for the next season. It's possible that I shouldn't eat everything. Let me put something in the ground for the next season. And the patience with which you will actually do that. Okay? And our past should be able to inform us of where we are headed. Okay? Our past should be able to inform us that, by the way, we have been through a lot and here we are. So shouldn't that encourage us and make us speak to ourselves in a positive way that says that, you know what, even when it was bad. That reminds me of the story of Noah. How Noah was a farmer. But being a farmer, God gets to a place where he's frustrated and he wants to destroy the world. And the only person that gains favor in the eyes of the Lord is Noah. Because he was righteous and he was good. But from 30 years of farming or 40 years of farming, now he's telling him to build an ark. He has never been a carpenter. He gives him directions. But one thing that I read from that is, this is what happens. All the virtues that Noah learned while being a farmer, of patience, of faith, because we sow in faith. How many of us are so sure that we are going to make it in this industry? Like extreme sure, like everything is assured. Now, those are the 2%. Yeah, the 98 are like, let's figure it out. The faith is still 50-50. They're like, you know what? I am not so sure if this is a solid ground, but let me put my foot like this and see where it is headed. You know that guy that eats spaghetti with 2 fingers? Huh? You know he's in Dubai right now. You didn't see? You people don't be following funny people. He's in Dubai, with his clothes and moving like he moves in a confused way. And this time, instead of placing spaghetti in the lake, he's placing it on the what? What is it? The escalator. Yeah. The escalator, and the escalator is taking the spaghetti. Now, some of us are like that guy. We are like, the spaghetti has gone, but let me step like this and see whether, this escalator can take me. Let me tell you, God's escalator, if it is supposed to take you to the 20th floor, be rest assured that his word is yes and amen. And it is going to take you to the 20th floor. So I don't want you to get to the 3rd floor and stand in the way. Some of us are in the 3rd floor with all our baggage and we are putting the arm out. People in elevators who be putting the arm out for those that are getting out and those that are coming in, but you're stuck at level 3. You are not going anywhere because you're thinking, this thing, it's not for the faint-hearted. Level 3 seems to be comfortable. People are getting in, people are coming out and what? But God sent you to level 20. To be exceptional at what you do, to be excellent at what you do, to be a healer. Let me tell you, your words are going to heal people. You will not have to speak so many words. You will speak the same words on the same platform where 5 other people have spoken, and your words will bring goosebumps on people's lives. And your words will turn their mindsets. They will go and they will never be the same again. Some of them will never even know what happened to them. Why? Because you came. You endured, you were resilient, you showed up. And the excellence that is on you just takes 2 words for the people for their lives to change. You will not need too much. Back then, I used to think, I need a full hour, I need a full hour and a half. You know how you think, but my words be going round. I don't think I will get to the point so quickly. I don't think people, these days, you pay me for 1 hour because the rate is 1 hour. I deliver my message in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And then we either go into Q&A or I have a one-on-one or something like that. And they're like, my goodness, I have never seen this. I have never heard about this. But and there are other speakers. There are other speakers. They are also doing a good job. But there are people that God has sent you for. Okay? There are people that are just waiting for you to show up. So your tongue discourages you, not only you, your tongue can discourage the people that you're helping, okay? Your tongue can kill a nation. It can kill the globe. Because so many people are counting on you. They are waiting on you. They are showing up. Why do you think that we usually have more views than likes? That shows you the ones that are viewing are more than the ones that are liking and commenting. Yeah? So you can have a post that has barely 30 likes. And it has 1 million views. Yes, I know that sometimes some people watch in motion, but when someone listens even to the 2 seconds of your video, can they get value? Can they get value? That's why when you're creating content, please do not introduce yourself for so long. Or even quit introducing yourself. Some of us are like, welcome guys, I am so and so, and today we are going to do, I have already rolled on. I have better things to do. I know. Can you bring it direct, Tell me, because I want to know. Do I like it or don't I like it? These days, we watch what we like. We read what we like. That's why people are using hooks to hook people in. But if you hook me in and you give me crap, I'm still not watching. Because I can tell something that is going to benefit me in 1 second of watching it. That's why confidence is so important. Do you know that someone, maybe you're not so cunning with your words, but the level of confidence, I look at you and I'm like, you get it? And while I am still gazing, I am getting something. That's why aesthetics are also important at some point. Because while I look at the background and everything and looking all good, all of a sudden you have been able to penetrate my 5 seconds with your information that I didn't want to watch. I was just here to watch the table on which you were seated. So I was not here for your content. We need to be able to develop in this area or else we are losing it. And I will give you this, that if the devil cannot stop you from hearing, he will steal your understanding. Your understanding of how you must show up, of what you must do, he will steal your understanding. That means all of us can hear. but the understanding. Now, this is back to us, the people helpers, not even to the people out there. Because every success that we long for in this world, write this down, is determined by not just what we build, but by what we build with. And one of the things that we build with are words. That our success in any area that God promised, okay, is not just determined by what we build, but by what we build with. The moment you use your words to build, okay, the moment you use your word to bless, the moment you use your words to heal, the moment you use your words to bring calmness. Do you know some people come to us and they append their hearts are in space? Have you ever had your heart in space? Some of you are too good, you've never been in any problems. Your heart is in space. But do you know that someone can whisper a word and it will feel like soothing waters that have been thrown on your soul, and you'll be like, you will breathe. Does it mean that the problem has gone away? No. But the words have power to bring me back, to collect my mind, and to say, that is why we need sober friends. Yeah? We need sober accountability partners and sober mentors. That you can call someone and you're like, you know what, I was about to do something bad, but I have called you. And then we will backtrack the conversation. What exactly happened? What do you feel? And you're like, I feel rage. You need people that you can be open with and naked with. And you're like, I feel rage. Because I hold this information, I have this information. I know that if I bring it out, you know, this information will bring it, will put them down. And then someone will ask you, of what benefit will it be? Won't you regret it after? Now, the person has slapped your mind back into understanding. But why? The words that they have said. And there is a catalyst. They will admit to things that they don't know. They will even tell you what they thought about that they didn't know. And they will, why? Because they are stimulating you. And half the time they know you're fighting their battle. They are like, let's katuongere mwenku, so that they can go and fight our battle. So don't be that catalyst. You are created to heal. You cannot have two tongues in one. You decide which side you belong. Okay? You remember the bitter waters in the land in the Old Testament? And how the prophet got the salt and put it in the pot and then poured it and it became sweet. The water became sweet. We are dealing with sour water, bitter water in the world. And our words are the only redemption. That even when you don't believe it, even when the situation does not align with what is in the scripture or what you believe, speak good. Okay? Speak good. And that good, you can never know how it can resurrect, how it can bring hope. You know? Have you ever told someone, I mean, I've talked to people who have wanted to commit suicide so many times, and it takes one word to switch them back. One word. And it is not the most powerful word. Oh, you don't, oh, but if you kill now, what is it going to do? Oh, it takes one word. Some of them, it just takes for you to narrate to them back. That's where discernment is so important. That when you look at someone, I have seen most of the people that, by the way, have committed suicide, most of them are sharp, intelligent, and bright. Too sharp for their age. Now, the moment I have looked at you and I've sensed that burden on your heart, that you've been misunderstood somewhere, that maybe things did not pan out the way you wanted, and yet you had sacrificed a lot. The moment I acknowledge what you felt, then you feel like there's someone who understands what I am feeling, because it seems like the whole world did not understand me. So when I show you that I understand you, but remember, I don't have the history for this person. Half the time I have gotten to the suicide site, you cannot ask for people that what is the background knowledge for this person. The person is stepping off the cliff, is stepping off the flat. And now you want to ask for background information? You don't have time for that. Their mind is switching anytime. Otherwise, there's a place I went to and I told them, no, he's not going to. Because I could read that this person was too afraid. But there are people you look in the eye and it's like they have signed their last. Like there is no return. There is no point of return. Now, those ones, God had better given you the words to flip the coin immediately. and just get to the root of their pain and address it. And when you address it, the way they will turn and look at you, that will show. But most of the times when they turn and they look into my eyes, what I read in their eyes shows me whether I have been successful or I have not been successful. Because most of the times when they look back with rage, means I'm successful. When they look back with calmness, I know I have not won the battle. And then you do not invite someone to such a site just who cannot even have the power to pray. Half the time I am coming, I am actually praying and canceling any kind of irrational thoughts. And the Bible says we bind them. We bind, and every thought will bow down. Okay? So that means if you have mere words that do not have the anointing and the Spirit of God to transform lives, you're also not doing that much. Okay? We have heard them so many times from so many people, and they have not changed. So what we are looking for is someone that will say something that will change the trajectory of our lives. Okay? That's why with content you must be you must be able to be out there, because you can never know. By the way, someone can watch something that you shot 2 years ago, and that is something that blesses them. That is something that stands out for. They're not looking for new content. They just bumped onto something, and they're like, I don't know why YouTube recommended this, but it came at the right time. So sow your seeds. Your words are not in vain. Do not be afraid. Do not be fearful of saying, you know what, people are going to say, I'm not comfortable, I'm not that good. People are going to say, leave alone the people. There's someone that is called to read those words. Can you put them up? All right? Everything, what we build with are words. What we build with our hands. I told you about Noah, and how Noah, I think when he was starting to gather the wood, everyone was like, he's a mad person. You've been a farmer for 30 years, and now you're gathering wood. You're measuring height, and you're measuring because you've been told to measure, to paint this and to paint this. And you know how they lay those boats when they're being built? They have to put anchors for them. And you know, you're putting anchors, you're trying to build something, it doesn't look like that much. Your dream, maybe right now, is looking like an embryo. And you're thinking, but this is a big head and the tail. It is not yet to the point where you can call it a baby, right? And everyone will look at it, including the people that you believe in the most. Maybe some of them, you're even sleeping with them. Maybe they are your husbands. Maybe they are your wives. Maybe they are your best friends. And they're only thinking, you're a drop in the ocean. Like, and God, there are so many people doing what you're doing. God, they're trying to discourage. They're saying the same words. They're posting the same posts. They're doing the same work. Let no one, okay, shatter the dream that God has put inside of you. Because they don't know your functionality and why you were created. That's why I told you, no one should ever make you feel bad about your temperament. Your functionality requires that you have your temperament in order to fulfill it. Do you speak too much? Well and good, I speak too much. Go and look for those that don't speak too much. Maybe I was not sent to you. Huh? Oh, you love fun and aesthetics. It's okay. I will show you each part of aesthetics and fun loving and luxury. I will show you luxury. The word luxury these days has been misused to the extent I don't want to identify with it anymore. For you love luxury. Let me tell you. I grew up thinking I was an introvert. I told you. Why? Because I was conditioned to think that way. And most firstborns are conditioned to think they're introverts. Because then you are the benchmark, you are the yardstick, you don't do this because your brothers will do it, you don't. We even have circles. Me, I had a triangle: church, school, home. That was the only, no exposure. Because then I must be that immaculate, well-behaved girl. I'm not saying I don't want to be well-behaved these days. Even when I don't give a damn. I know I am good, but whoever is not for me, he will always find a reason. You know? So I discovered later that, by the way, I usually thought my sister was the only one who was like the sanguine, because her foot will always be up. You know people who don't have a care in the world? That was my sister. Now, she was everywhere, holding nice bags, doing nice hair, doing what? And I'll be like, we have different, me, I'm an introvert, I think I'm a melancholy. Before I even took the test, by the do you know that some of us, we have already resigned to who we are, instead of even going ahead to research? Now, I looked at my life, and I was doing things that were totally different from who I thought I was. I love fun. Guys, I love dancing. Like, seriously, my house is a loud house, you know, and that has caught on with the children. Like all of us, we do not speak mpola, you know. Now even the nannies have learned, even the chef has learned, and the askari has learned, you know. As in, for us, it's about even that 4-year-old knows how to turn on a speaker and connect Bluetooth, and he will be dancing and doing exercises, you know. And I was like, but where is this coming from? Me, I thought I'm an introvert. I am there. People tell me I'm unapproachable. I am there, boring. But I'm not. I don't live a boring life. Until I was like, you know what? Let me just look for, where do I belong? And I was so shocked. I was so shocked to learn that everything to do with, I don't do well with routines. I force myself on routines. I don't do well with bosses. You want to tell me what? Deadlines? You're not for me, clearly. You know, if you tell me that right now, without packing and without seeing my children, that I am relocating to Canada, I will be on the next flight. That is how spontaneous I am. Like, seriously, you don't need to make plans with me. Kastobuza chikubira wa, nga chikubira wali, nga tugenda. But God knew that maybe what I will do will require me to be alive. Do you know, dealing with people, how hard it is? Dealing with people's problems. Monday to Sunday. Yeah? This one was committing suicide. This one is going. This one is not going, but they are going. This one, and, yeah. The other day I talked to a 7-year-old. You know, I'm dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of stress. And you know that I have learned to manage my own stress. That is how she was speaking, fear generation alpha. The gens is kale kaleko. Fear generation alpha. She was, I've learned to deal with my own stress. But don't tell my sisters. Don't tell my sisters. But do you know that we have family problems? And, you know, I can't talk about them. And I'm like, but you can trust me. I was like, unless you promise me that there is confidentiality and that you will not crisscross your words, you know, because I will never trust you again. I was like, but I need you to trust me again. You're going to trust me again. And then she tells me her family problems. And they are real problems, by the way. And then she's like, you know what? I have learned to control my own stress. Do you know that you can't watch anything when you're stressed? So now I learned to turn off the TV and stare at a blank TV like this until my stress comes down. Do you know that they send me to bed before I even feel like sleeping? And when I go to bed, I am wide open like this. And I am looking at the window and I am looking at the ceiling. But you know that my sisters be talking about a lot of things. And they don't want to include me in their conversation. They say I'm a kid. They don't know that I'm even older than them. Do you know? Let me tell you, I was like, okay, the whole time I was like, did they give me the right age? Is this a 20-year-old in a 7-year-old body? I was like, yeah. The English was Englishing. 7 years old. 7 years old. And then I was like, you know what? I got empathy. Like, you know, empathy, like that comes boom, and I was like, you know what? I have been sending away a lot of teenagers, but I think we need help. I've been sending away a lot of between 7. Actually, I've been telling them that, guys, if you're a family and you're bringing your children in holiday, because I don't deal with children, but if you're a parent and you're thinking Bahati is only Bahati that has to deal with my children, then I would tell you I can only deal with 15-year-olds and above. But now, I'm like, you know what? Next time they bring a 7-year-old, huh? I will treat them as an adult. Even payment now changed. You pay as an adult. Like, seriously, they have real issues. Real issues. How can you be a 7-year-old and you're taming your own stress? That means your surrounding is stressing. You get it? And then no one knows that because we are pushing everything under the blanket because we think you are young. You're not understanding. Yes, you're seeing everything, you're feeling everything. And now, just imagine when I got, let me tell you, I looked at her and I was like, you know, in my head, I was like, I'm handling you like a mature person. Now let's go to vision, to setting vision for you. We set vision. No, like, she must be able to have a trajectory that through which she follows through. To know that, by the way, she must be a well-rounded 20-year-old or 15-year-old, or even if it's 5 years from now, when she is eventually 14, she needs to be a well-rounded human being. So how do we move from this place to this place? Okay? There are certain things that she must be able to do in order to get there. Definitely talking to her parent or talking to the elders, she must be also, she must have a path that she knows that she can be able to follow as a child in order to get. So I have to ask her what her dream is, where she dreams, where she wants, what she wants for herself. Do you know what she told me? She's an environmentalist. Yeah, she wants to deal with the earth and the yeah, she wants to deal with the earth, and she wants to be able to supply food globally that does not spoil the horizons and what and I was like, what is this? I was like, half the time I don't even know what the word environmentalists mean. I don't know what they do. You know, and she explained to, and she understands. Yes. Even when I was, for whatever reason, I was speaking and I was a bit bringing in something else, I was like, no, remember, I told you this is what I want. I was like, yes, that is what we are working with. So do you see, words do not just change the mature people, the young people. That the words of affirmation, the trust that she will build, and who she sees herself 5 years from now and 10 years from now. Now you have created a totally different, do you know that within 1 hour, you can change someone's trajectory? Okay? To take their eyes off what is happening right now because their environment is not about to change, and to take their eyes to think that they can be able to control and be able to nurture and foster growth in themselves. So guys, words. God has trusted us with words. Okay? We must be able to impact. The ability is on the inside of us. But the truth will set the world free. So let's speak that truth. Let's measure our words. Okay? Let's speak only what heals, what delivers, what changes, what constructs, and this begins in your homes. You cannot say, oh, in my home I'm going to be a totally different person, and out there I'm going to be a totally different person. Be kind to your husband, be kind to your wife, be kind to your children, build them, affirm them, show them that you understand. People want to know that they matter, and this is what I am finishing with. How do you make people feel that they matter? You listen to them. Number one. Number two, you show them that they are needed. Number three, you show them that they are missed. Okay? That is how you show people that they matter. You show them that they are enough. That is how you show people that they matter. That they have a reason, and a reason as to why they created. There is a reason for their existence. Now they know they are important. When you look at those, all your clients, everywhere you will speak, your children, your spouse, everyone, when you show them that you matter. And I'm going to be very, very articulate and selective about the words I'm going to speak, to show you that I want you, to show you that I need you, to show you that I miss you, to show you that I listen to you, and to show you that you are enough. That is all we. Isn't that what you want? So if you want that, go and give it to other people. And when you feel that for people, your words are going to be very, very selective, and they're going to be healing. I love you, love you.